Hi, this is Dr. Ben Morrill. Welcome to episode 115 of Reptile Genetics Weekly. Glad to have you here. We are going to talk about some other species today. We're talk a lot about the genetics in ball pythons, but we definitely are very interested to start looking at mutations, color and pattern changes in other species too. And so those of you that are here because you love ball pythons, I think one thing you can really do to help during this episode is let us know what you think as far as what we're seeing in rat snakes. Tell us what you think, what morph in ball pythons is the closest, because that's one thing we sincerely will need to do with these different species, boas, colubrids, other pythons, things like that, is figure out what morphs are similar in other species. Then that'll help us know. We already know where it is in a ball python. That'll help us be able to find it in other species. So as you watch this, be able to appreciate the beauty in rat snakes, but also let us know in the comments. Be like, hey, I think, Rusty is like this in a ball python or in a boa or, wherever else you see it, in house snakes, whatever. We want to hear those comparisons because that'll sincerely help us later with research as we're finding new mutations in other species that are ones we haven't worked in yet. So give us your input. As for results going out this week, although it seems to be really hot, at least on the east coast of the US. I don't know if west is too, but it's really warm for several days. But it looks like we should be good for doing runs and getting results out every day the rest of this week for fast tests, and we'll get sex determination for ball pythons and colubrids a couple of times this week. So those turnaround times are as normal. For panel results, we had some go out about a week and a half ago, so it'll be about another week and a half, 2.5 weeks, something like that, as they get closer. And I know for sure when we're running it, then we'll give you a more precise update. And we are doing tons of stuff, research behind the scenes. We've got a whole bunch of data coming through. So we have a lot. These next 3 months are going to be fun ones. We'll have a lot of cool things to talk about. But yeah, that's what I got for the sample updates. Kayla, how are you doing?
Hey Ben, I'm doing great. I am very excited about this episode because rat snakes are my wheelhouse. And even though it's my wheelhouse, I think you guys might be okay, it's not a mess, it's only kind of a mess, but that's part of the fun with rat snakes. With that being said, I also produced Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the journey is a big part of the fun,
Oh,
if you get to
absolutely.
the end and you know everything, that's kind of sad in a way. So
It's true. Actually, speaking of the journey, we said that we would be back with our live streams this week, but actually Ben just got a buttload of information to analyze in. And so we've decided it's crunch time. We're actually going to put our live stream off for another week because, well, we want to get more tests. And Ben's already given me a couple of little hints at what they are. And I think you guys are going to be so excited.
And we may even have to, for the next couple of months, maybe just do a live like once a month or something like that for these next 2 or 3 months. Because thankfully we've got a lot of stuff to work through. We'll have a lot of new things and a lot of stuff that I shouldn't talk about yet. But it's going to be, these next 3 months are going to be a lot of fun.
I am so hyped for that. And I wish we could tell more, but it's okay. So just as a reminder, corn snake people, we are kind of representing you guys today too. We do have fast testing for corn snakes for lavender, scaleless, terrazzo, and amelanistic. If you don't see a morph that you want, and there's a lot that we don't currently have yet, you can help us by sending in sheds of mutations that we don't currently test for. And likewise for ball pythons, we have a few different target morphs here. We've updated our sheds wanted list as well. We post this on our social media, and some of these have changed. So that means that maybe some are on the way or we've changed priorities. But if you want to go back into previous episodes and see how it's changed, that might give you a hint at what we're working on. Maybe
or what's already done.
Or what's already done. Yeah, we're just holding on to release as a which I don't even know what those are, so I'm excited. But yeah, homozygous forms are preferred, but we can take hets too. And if you'd like to send us mutation or shed samples for mutations we don't currently test for, all you need is a dry quarter-size patch of shed, and make sure that, you know, like stick it, make sure it's dry, not covered in poop, and, you know, just a little quarter-size patch. You don't need to send the whole thing unless you feel like it. Just make sure it's dry if you do. And let us know the animal's ID, any known morphs, possible morphs, who produced it, if at all possible, and any lineage information, if you have it. That's not always possible, but as much as you know is helpful. And so we're going to introduce our guest today, Matthew Gonzalez of Tesseracraft. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Excited to discuss the discovery I made. It was kind of I was kind of annoyed that when I looked at my snakes, they weren't normals. I was thinking that,
oh no, the rat snakes have done it again. It's going to be a mess, and I got to figure this out.
Well,
yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, I thought maybe the female had retained spawn from the previous year.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like all these like, I see the faces and none of them are dark as they're poking out of the eggs.
Right.
And then, like, it's not until I saw, you know, going to sex them and move them around, I started seeing the faint pattern on them.
But for people like me that don't know the rats, let's show people what a normal looks like.
So for people who don't know, rat snakes, or North American rat snakes in the Pantherophis genus, generally speaking, as babies, they look kind of like this. Little guys, gray with brownish or black saddles. Or in the case of these little dudes right here, these are some hatchlings that I just produced this past week, and they're beautiful. I have 8 little babies. And so generally speaking, regardless of where they are in North America,
rat snakes. Hi, babies.
They look like this. And they're
Medusa
adorable.
Hand.
Huh?
Medusa hand.
Medusa hand. Honestly, I'm very proud of these kiddos. They were an experimental clutch. That was its own thing, but we have enough confusing. Oh yeah, they like to look at the fan for some reason. Do y'all do yours do that, Matthew?
Yeah, and they generally do it as I go to feed them.
Oh,
so
weird.
Like, because I have a ceiling fan, and they the movements. They check the movements, and that looks interesting. And they don't like, if they're watching the ceiling fan when I go to feed them, I know all I have to do is get their attention onto the food and they'll eat. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
the
ceiling fan. Like, it's a
they're
thing.
Like toddlers. They like it. I don't understand. But anyway, so this is what they look like as babies. But what's special about this genus is that they go through a very significant ontogenic change. You have grayer ones. You have ones that are black. Sometimes you don't even have this like coloration in between the scales. Sometimes it's just jet black with a white chin, white underbelly. You got your Texas rats who have often more spice and also more color. You've got some pretty yellow stripy ones. You also have Baird's rat snakes, who are honestly not a huge part of the conversation, but they're part of the genus. We like to mention them too. And as mentioned, they're found over a lot of North America. You have, this is the latest taxonomic geographic map. It is a hot mess, but that controversy is not the scope of our topic today. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's been going on for like 20 years. Let us know if you want us to talk about it later. But in general, you got your Easterns, Quadrivitatus, Pantherophis quadrivitatus. Over in this area in blue, you've got your previously known as just black rat snakes, who were all the way up here, but are now kind of like, they could be Eastern integrades, they could be Centrals in red, they could be Westerns in green. I have all 3 personally in my collection. You have your grays, who tend to be grayer, but not always, who tend to be central rat snakes. Central and gray are often used interchangeably. You've got your Western rat snakes. Texas rat snakes are lumped into this. Some people do not claim that it is. I'm not here to make judgments either way, but Texas and Western, they could look like these, could look like these. They're Westerns if they're west of the Mississippi. And then you have Baird's rat snakes. Everybody knows what a Baird's is. Everyone tends to agree with a Baird's is. So they're good guys. We like them. So that's a rat snake. A whole bunch.
One more thing.
Yes.
I should have brought this up earlier, but you also
Oh yeah, you're good.
corn snakes and the Slowinski corn snake, also rat
Yeah,
snakes.
I didn't even
Also,
include them in
you
this.
can make it even more muddier with that.
Oh yeah.
And then also the Great Plains rat snake, which was also
Mm-hmm.
considered a subspecies of corn snake for a while.
Mm-hmm.
too.
And we're not even
So,
including fox snakes and all of that,
yeah.
just because, like I said, the Pantherophis complex is a hot mess. It's beautiful. We love them.
They all in the wild, they all interbreed a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is why you
messy.
see a lot of like in Virginia, we have all intergrades. Virginia just swapped them from Eastern to Central, recognizing them officially, but they're technically intergrades. It's a hot mess. But in general, rat snakes. And in the hobby, because they've been kept for years and the taxonomic stuff has been changing while breeders have been interbreeding over years. You just have hobby rats that kind of get slapped a label on, like, okay, this is an Eastern now, or this is a Western now. So don't overthink it. Rat snake's a rat snake in this case.
For ball python people, you can see we've got all these morphs to talk about and figure out, have conversations about, and then just think this is a whole other level where you've got these different species, but they also integrate, and there's pretty large integration zones.
Yes, they are. The whole East Coast is like,
yeah,
and
a lot more to think about.
Oh yeah, and they figured this out using like mitochondrial DNA, like kind of tracing where they interbred over time and using that DNA to trace how geography affects their interbreeding, etc. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so enter the Calighost. These little guys are basically they are double hets. When Matthew went to breed them, he expected all the babies to come out like this, but instead they popped out like this. They were from a parent, I guess, a parent visual Calico and a visual culotta Leucistic. As context, we will be talking about Leucism, and just in general, I think that I think that the Pantherophis complex, our black rats and Texas rats, possibly have a complex similar to the blue-eyed leucistic complex in ball pythons. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we've got something like that going on. Excuse me, cat, please get out of the way. So we'll start off with the Calicos, though. They were from Jefferson County, Kentucky originally, so technically a central rat snake, but they've mostly been bred with Easterns, so they're generally considered Eastern rat snakes nowadays.
Well,
what do you consider them, Matthew? Sorry.
So you can, if you look closely at the adults on Calicos, some of those spots are more gray, and some of those spots are more black on those black spots.
Oh yeah.
And so you can tell whether or not they've kept it with the black rat snakes or the gray rats. Kept it with the gray rat snakes or outcrossed with black rat snakes.
Yeah, because the one on the left here is one of yours.
Yes, and that's a younger picture. That picture is probably 2.5 years old on that picture. And I probably should have sent you an updated picture, but they look more like those other two now.
Yeah, and they like, this is what they look like when they hatch, and they actually like grow those speckles. They gain speckles as they grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a little like, I guess bananas are kind of like that, banana ball pythons.
Yeah, and the Calighost name is a kind of a tentative name because who knows what these are going to look like and start looking like in 6 months, and and so I might change the name entirely, but Calighosts, because of the ghost-like appearance of the pattern, is what I'm going with for now.
Yeah. And so Calico is a recessive trait. It's been combined with a few different things. It is allelic with a type of leucism or a different type of leucism. But we'll talk about that later when we get into rusties in rat snakes. But so that's the Calico. Born kind of yellow and speckled, and as they grow, they intensify these nice pretty oranges, and they usually get a nice gray speckled head, yellow
And
eyes,
they
orange
keep
tail.
and they keep getting more color.
Yes, they're
Like,
very cool.
I put my male and female into brumation 2 years ago, and I got them out. I was like, I can't tell them apart, and I had to flip them over, look at the scale, like the shape of the scales on the bottom that I identified as a unique marker, in order to separate them out, because I couldn't tell them apart anymore because the patterns changed too much.
Okay, so that's the Calico. And moving on, we have the Culota line of Western rat snakes, or I think they're generally considered Westerns, but sometimes Texas. Anyway, they're leucistic. They are snow white, pretty bluish white eyes, generally just white. And sometimes they come in with these little speckles on them, little orange spots.
They don't hatch with them. They generally develop them
Interesting.
after a couple of months.
Yeah.
They'll get like a random spot, and sometimes the spot might show up a little bit later. Like that black spot on Kirinaku there.
That would make me nervous that it's a mite.
Oh, it made me so nervous too. Like I looked at it and she shed. It was still there. It's like right at the edge of the scale too, where a mite would be. Like, oh man, it made me so nervous.
Of course.
But no, it's so they can be black spots as well. That one came in like 2 years after I got her. So like they don't. Like, I haven't seen any additional spots than those two, but I figured that's something worth bringing up because that is a distinct thing.
Definitely. And I mean, it's kind of hard to say what that is, whether it is like, I mean, it could be a paradox spot and it gains color later because like naturally with the like normal ontogenic changes that the species normally has, or maybe it is just related to this line of leucism. And as far as I know, other lines of leucism in rat snakes also gain speckles, but I could be wrong.
Well, the other thing that we're discovering this with this hatching is it could be a Calico thing. Like, since the mutation happens since it appears to be a lilac right now, that means this is the same gene that's getting mutated. If they actually are lilac, I mean, it looks like they are. But
I think so. Yeah.
So it could just be that's how that gene would normally function. And so like as the spots come in Calico, then it makes sense if the same gene that a spot or two could come in on the leucistic. That's what I think, but it's just weird. But you love it and you love to see it because it gives you more information, more context on stuff.
Yeah. Also, this leucism, like most, is a simple recessive. The heads look like a standard wild type black rat snake. It's very speckled, looks like, and so is this considered, a Western? You label these as a Western.
Yeah.
Now, as far as lineage wise and the Culota line, as the story goes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, Chris Culota found a listing for a wild type leucistic eastern rat snake that looked pretty beat up, but he shipped it into where he is in Louisiana, and he has been outcrossing them with the western rats that are western central intergrade rats that are just around his area, and a lot of people work with the Culota line leucistic. So it's generally speaking at this point basically a western rat snake, but western or even Texas. But again, if a black rat's a black rat is a black rat to you, then it's just a black rat. But generally speaking, most people tend to see it in the western lineage, even though it was technically an eastern when it first came in. So it got kind of like ship of Theseus. Granted, if Chris pops in and corrects us in the comments, let us know. I'll pin your comment. But
he's I'll send him a link to this, but
for sure.
He doesn't do much online.
That's fair. No, we'll definitely post this in the Black Rat. Like, there's like a Facebook group for black rat people, and that seems to be the largest group online that I found for this species. But anyway, so generally speaking, Western, simple recessive, and to our knowledge, at this point, it has not been allelic with anything until now. There's also another line of Leucism that, two other lines of Leucism that that as far as I know, have not been outcrossed with this. Let's talk about Rusticos. So now this is the other allelic, the other thing that Calico, the speckled yellow guys, are allelic with, and another line of Leucism. So in Eastern rat snakes, you have, or I guess I'm pointing this way if I'm going Eastern rat snakes, we have the rusty rat snake, and with a single form of this incomplete dominant form of Leucism. The babies are born this way. This was produced by our friend Clint Bartley of Metazotics and Colubrid radio fame. They're reddish. They grow up to be kind of, well, rusty colored. And you can have some variation. Sometimes they're brighter, sometimes they're darker. A lot of times they'll have bright orange eyes. This one has a darker orange eye, but still very pretty. And then when you combine the two, you just get a standard leucistic, bright white eyes, leucistic rat snake. There we go. Okay, so there's a nice Eastern leucistic from Exotic Reptile Creations.
Yep.
So if you had that one side by side with the last one you showed, would you be able to tell them apart by
No.
No, I don't think so. Even next to a Texas leucistic, you don't think you'd be able to tell. Though this leucistic is a solid white.
Mm-hmm.
And the eyes are always kind of that bluish gray, or do you get all black eyes ever?
Never any black eyes, as far as I know.
I haven't gotten any blue eyes, like actual blue eyes. I've seen the black and white eyes, but I've never seen a blue eye yet.
Yeah.
But people still call them blue eye Lucies because they associate leucistics with blue eyes, especially when it comes to ball pythons, where I think you do see some of the blue eyes.
So like there's
the spot.
That's a kind of, and actually you see some spotting on that one too. But this is a Texas, I don't know if it's a Mineral Wells or a Culota line leucistic, but that's a Western. So for context, so there are the different leucistics. Now the rusty Eastern, when you combine a rusty or super rusty, which is just leucistic, with a Calico, the double hets come out as rusticos. They look like this as neonates, where you have, you can see some pattern. They look like little pink little dudes with white eyes. Love this pile of babies from Esoterica Reptilia. And as adults, they look cool. They have some of the black speckling that the Calico does, but these little like white side saddles along the back develop. They still have those grayish white eyes. Sometimes they're quite orange as they grow, like this example from Glen Reptiles, who has the best tagline ever as legless excellence. I love it. But still white eyes, orangish body. And also Dave Kaufman, I was doing some research for this episode and I spotted that he actually had a Rustico on his thumbnail for this episode when he was at Daytona in 2024. So Rusticos are out there. They're absolutely slept on. I love them so much. And I want one someday. But
they're pretty.
Yeah. So Rusticos are a thing. However, we don't think that your Calighosts are the same as Rusticos because one, we're pretty sure that the Culota line is not at all related to Rusties due to the fact that the hets don't look anything like this little fella here, a standard Rusty, even though it comes from Eastern lines. And for two, there's a pretty big difference between your Calighosts and Rusticos, seen right here.
So in on my picture, the that's after a week,
Yeah.
like in that picture,
Mhm.
and those looks like they could have hatched. I mean, they're still on the paper towel.
Yeah.
So those could have hatched, days before that picture.
Right.
So like
And I have some other pictures too.
like even normal leucistic babies look pink when they first hatch out.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
like we can't go by that pink and reddish coloration.
That's fair.
But the powder on it does seem to be a lot more faint on
Yeah.
some of these. So we'll see. This is definitely a wait and see. I'm definitely going to do a wait and see before I start selling these.
Yeah, of course. You want to see how they start to color up. And maybe they will end up coloring up like the Rusticos, and maybe I mean
add some more confusion.
add some more confusion because they're rat snakes. We can't have anything straight here. Yeah. And so, lots of great pictures. And I mean, you could look at this tail here on one of these and think, ooh, that does kind of look like the baby Rusticos. But also they're really, because Rusticos are kind of not super common despite looking amazing. We don't have a ton of pictures online that I've seen of Rustico neonates. Or Rustico juveniles who are past the neonate on the paper towel phase.
That are transitioning.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to say. Here's some het calico pictures that Matthew sent. Also, you always know, like when I'm on MorphMarket, I can always recognize your stuff because you have
The
this
Lego.
the Lego setup. It's so cool. I love it.
So the advantage of doing the Legos, it provides a color key. So if my colors are off, then you know how they're off. Like in this picture, the back of the snake is darker than the front of the snake that we see. But you also see on the Legos, at the bottom of the picture, they're brighter than the pictures on the back.
Yeah.
So you can tell that it's in a shadow.
Right.
When you do solid white or solid black, you can't tell if there's a shadow or not. So
yeah,
it
that's
does.
cool.
It is intentional, and it is eye-popping, eye-catching, and so I love it. And I've had a couple messages, people like, you need to get rid of that. I'm like, too bad.
What? And I like it. Okay, if you like it, that's what matters.
Yeah.
I do think it's very fun. It can be hard to see the green. It can be hard to see the green, but it is very much your brand.
Yeah, well, the on the lettering, because of the background, like that bright green is the only color that pops on almost everything. Like if I take a picture outside, that bright green is the most visible color outside, even on grass, background of grass. So like it's just the best color, unfortunately. And I hate changing the color, so just deal with it. I'm sorry.
Enough. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, the snakes look great, so
they are pretty.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see how these grow out.
I'm gonna try to get at least get a weekly update on these.
Oh, that would be cool if you could document how they grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when these popped out and didn't look at all like how you expected, like what was your reaction, and how many hours or days did it take to kind of like settle in, sink in why these aren't normal looking?
So I actually got so they started hatching. I saw faces. I'm like, they're supposed to be dark normal rat snake faces, and I'm like, oh, come on, just like what is this?
Give me something normal here.
Like I need a normal baby. Retained sperm is not what I want. I need normals.
Right. Yeah.
And then and my now fiance was with me to help me record. And so she caught my reaction when I discovered that when I started moving them from perlite. I don't like perlite it's great for incubating, but as soon as the snakes hatch, get it off the perlite. It's essentially popcorn glass, and that can't be good for ingesting in any way.
That's fair.
Anyway, so I was moving them onto sphagnum moss, and I looked and I was like, wait, those pattern hair, like, if these are straight leucistics, they shouldn't have pattern.
Mhm.
And so when I discovered the pattern, like, I haven't posted the video yet.
Yeah.
It's in the backlog of videos I need to post.
Mhm.
But you see my reaction, just like, wait a second, this is something exciting.
Yeah.
This is a new discovery. But yeah, no, I'm try to be very transparent and try to be very honest. I'll tell everyone all the information I know about something. It's like this is speculation at this point. I talk about what things are.
I was just going to say, so if people do want to follow and be able to see the video that you said is in your backlog, where's the best place for people to find you and see what you're posting?
It's YouTube, probably YouTube, for just because that's how I'm able to get the most information out the fastest. It's an old channel and it's evolved quite a bit.
Yeah.
Much
Oh,
more
you're
happier
fine.
now.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. So
This is awesome.
Yeah, throw a couple of gaming stuff together occasionally. Did have gardening videos in there, which mostly just animals I find in the garden.
I love it. Oh, I see the little anole. I love anoles so much. They're amazing.
Yeah, and then that video is probably like my consistently most watched video because every spring and summer that video just ticks up, as in people trying to figure out what these little green geckos are, and they're not geckos.
Yep. It's at Tesseracraft on YouTube. Makes it nice and easy.
Yeah, and then also on MorphMarket, I don't sell it in expos. Because of that, everything I sell has to go through MorphMarket essentially, or sometimes through Facebook. So generally, you might not see something until I post it to MorphMarket, which is.
That's okay.
But yeah, no, I on this is definitely going to be documented as well as possible because I'm going to hang on to these for about 6 months to see.
Yeah. See how they color up. Yeah.
Yeah, and the entire time I can hype them up and see. Hopefully get some good sales off of it because I'm so recently engaged, like
congrats.
2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
And within my religion, courtship periods are very short. Usually you're either married within 9 months or you've broken up within 9 months.
Okay.
So I'm looking to get married before the end of the year, which is crazy.
So you're gonna have a lot going on then.
And can't get married till I figure out the housing situation. So,
fair.
And when you breed snakes, they don't like you renting in apartments.
Yeah,
like maybe one snake is fine, maybe 2 snakes is fine, maybe 3. When you say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna breed snakes," and those are gonna be 30 baby snakes potentially 30 baby snakes in my apartment, they're like, "No, you're not doing that here."
I would say, how do you feel about reptiles like corn snake? They don't need to know.
What you do is like, how do you feel about small animals, like something that fits in a terrarium?
Yeah,
in a tank, a
gecko,
like fish,
a lizard.
Yeah, like
they're lizards, right?
Technically, yes. If you look at the phynology, if you like following Clint's Reptile, he argues that snakes are lizards. If a tegu is a lizard, a snake is a lizard.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Matthew, thank you for joining us today, and congrats on your surprise, probably new morph. I just looking at these pictures and the patterns they have, like I think Calighosts are going to be similar, but I feel like they're probably going to be different. I feel like they'll look similar, but I think this is something totally new. I'm willing to bet.
Well, if we're getting into speculation, one of my thoughts is, since the Rusty is an incomplete dominance, and the Leucistic mutation is probably entirely recessive, since one is incomplete, the other one is completely recessive. How they interact with the Calico, I speculate, is going to be different. what will we see? I don't know. It'd be really cool if we saw the that calico pattern start bleeding in. That's my hope, because that'd be
That
a
would be
pretty
cool.
cool looking snake.
Yeah.
As they age, but maybe it'll keep that high leucistic appearance, and then but you will start seeing spots pop up. Either one would be really cool, and we just
Mhm.
don't know yet. And it's I'm just gonna hang on to them until I know. And
Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
Ben, do you have any thoughts from the ball python and geneticist side of things?
No, I hope that those of you that stayed around to look at these beautiful reptiles, and you are ball python fiends, I think there's some things you can see are kind of similar and some things that are kind of different. And I look forward to seeing in the comments what you all think. And
Definitely.
yeah, it's beautiful animals and cool to see funky genetics and be able to compare what's similar to what we see in other species and what's different. And so
For sure.
I appreciate you coming on, Matthew.
yeah, I do have one thing to say. A selling
Yes.
point for all black rat snakes is
Mhm.
an adult black rat snake can eat a mid-sized adult rat. So if you do have a lot of ball pythons, it might be worth picking up a couple of black rat snakes to.
Oh yeah.
Because ball pythons are the picky eaters, and the alternative is usually a boa to feed the rat too. But
Yeah.
maybe you don't want a boa.
If you need a snake to be like your resident garbage disposal, these little guys are it. They're awesome. And also great for education. I take them to schools and libraries and stuff, and I'm like, hey, this is the cousin of the little guys we have outside. And you can talk about your native snakes and all of that. They're great. Like same care as corn snakes, but they're just bigger and sometimes slightly spicier. It's great.
Well, I'm trying to close. The reason
Yeah,
I
you're good.
got into specifically Eastern black rat snakes
Mhm.
is there was this video of these two kids who have a wild caught black rat snake they've had in the captive for like a couple of days,
Mhm.
and they're showing the difference between a black racer and the black rat snake visually.
Yep. I think I know the one.
In the black racer bites the black rat snake, and the black rat snake's like, whatever, I'm fine. And there's like barely even flinches. It was like,
Yeah.
and I think the Eastern black rat snakes might be the most docile most docile rat snake in North America, giving even maybe more so than the corn snake. But
I think so.
it's a possibility. You can still get them to. I mean, you can still, everything bites. If it has a mouth that bites, that's just the way it goes. But anyway, I'll let you close. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, no worries. They're fun to talk about. I get it. But all right. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you think like our Calighost going to end up like, are they just rusticos that are less saturated, or are they going to be a whole new thing? Let us know what you think. And thanks again for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your fellow snake nerds. Even if they're ball python people, I think they'll find this interesting. And we hope you guys join us again next week. And outro in 3, 2, 1.